Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. If you're new here, my name is Dakota. I make a ton of videos on here, including but not limited to story times, true crime, lifestyle, advice, content, and things of that nature. Today's video is going to be something that I knew that I would film one day, but I never thought I would film it this early on into my career here on YouTube. Over the past week, I've gotten a few messages from my subscribers and my supporters asking me advice on a topic that I have actually gone through that is very near and dear and is a very sensitive piece of my heart. And through helping them and giving them advice and just talking with them about their experience, I realized that a lot of women go through this. And one thing that I realized about trauma, abuse, anything like that, is that we sometimes don't talk about it because we feel like we're the only ones that have gone through it, or we feel embarrassed, or we feel ashamed, or we feel like tainted in a way. And that is not the case. A lot of women go through this, a lot of women deal with this, and I realized that suffering is alleviated when we all realize that we are not going through it alone. I always want to use my platform to raise awareness about things that are important in life. Life is not all about just drinking and partying and smoking and getting blacked out every weekend. There's really important things that are going on in the world right now, not only in the world, but things that have gone on in the past that people unfortunately are going to go through as well. And I want to always make my platform fun. You know, I like doing story times, I like spilling the tea with y'all, but there's also incidents where things have happened in my life and other women's life by talking with my subscribers that are really important, and I always want to spread light and raise awareness on real life issues. Now, this is a trigger warning right here and now. If sexual abuse, molestation, or anything of that nature triggers you, please click off this video right now. This is not the video for you. I have many other videos. I'll leave a story time playlist down below, but today I will be touching on some pretty sensitive and heavy subjects, including the nature of topics that I just mentioned. Just got done talking with my subscribers, and I was heading downstairs, passing my kitchen to go into my bathroom to start my makeup so I could come up here and film. And the clock, while I was going downstairs, I was like ruminating in my head. I was like, should I tell this story today, or should I wait a little bit? I don't know if it's the right time. And then I looked at my clock, I saw 11:11, and that just for me was a confirmation that I need to get this video out to you guys right now. May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and I feel like what is a better time than to talk about something that has definitely tainted my mental health and how I overcame that. This is probably one of the biggest traumas that I went through as a kid, and I feel like I'm finally ready to release it. And with every video that I make on here, as well as therapy, every video I release, a little piece of my heart gets healed. I feel like this is like very therapeutic and very releasing for me, and also I'm helping out other people during the process. I'm ready to share it with you guys. I feel like I'm finally at a place where I want to officially move on from this situation. I don't feel like it necessarily completely holds me back, but I know that it definitely is a little bit keeping me stagnant of where I'm at. I'm ready to just finally let it go, release it, and officially move on from this trauma. Just as a fair warning, I will not in any way, shape, or form be disclosing the identity of this person. Please do not ask me. Please do not discuss in the comments down below who you think it is. I don't care who you are in my life. If you're a family, if you're a friend, if you're one of my subscribers, do not message me in any way, shape, or form asking me who it is. Please, in the comments down below, do not speculate who it is, because the fact of the matter is that it doesn't matter who it is. This happened when I was a kid. I'm now 27 years old. I don't live anywhere near this person. This person is completely disconnected from me. I cut them off years ago, so has my family. And I'm safe and I'm happy and I'm healthy now, and that's what matters. And to keep it that way, I need you guys to not speculate, because that will just open Pandora's box for this person to try to think they can gain access to my life again. I do not want that. So if you have any care in the world of my well-being, of my child's well-being, or my family's well-being, you'll leave that piece of information alone. I have a pretty good fan base here on YouTube, so in no way, shape, or form do I think you guys are going to do that, but I just want to let you know now, if you are in the comments down below trying to figure out who this is, you'll be blocked, you'll be deleted, you will not be able to watch a video on this channel ever again. I take the safety of me and my daughter very seriously, and that is something that would put it in jeopardy, so please do not try to speculate down below who this is about, okay? Now that everybody in the class knows the rules, let's get started with the story time. bit of a backstory of my childhood before I specifically get into some of the abuse I endured. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background on how I grew up. So I grew up in Connecticut to two parents. My parents were together until I was in, I want to say, maybe like 5th grade. And while we were growing up, my mom and my dad were married, and my father had previously suffered from alcoholism. He had an addiction to alcohol, and then when he met my mom, he was sober. My dad was completely sober, fine, doing well, had been for quite many years, and then fortunately he relapsed and he got back into the addiction of alcohol again. He is completely fine now. He has been sober forever. He has a great life, has got himself together, so he's in a good spot now. But unfortunately, you know, relapses do happen. It's very hard to come clean off alcohol. It's very much so like telling one of you guys to never look at your phone again. Like it's hard. So he unfortunately did fall back into that pit, and then eventually that caused my parents to become divorced. And let me just say, obviously I told you I'm not disclosing the identity of who this is, but it is not my father at all. In no way, shape, or form, it was not him. So please do not for 1 second even suggest that he was this person I'm going to be talking about. My parents ended up splitting up, and then me, my mom, and my brother ended up moving into a 2-bedroom apartment above a music school. It was a really tiny apartment. It was like so small you could barely breathe. And my parents had divorced, and then my dad was kind of like in and out of my life between that. So you know, he was trying to get better but still also trying to see me, and then we ended up moving to New Jersey, and then I didn't see him for like a long time. And then finally, when I came back from New Jersey, when I was 18, turning 19, I moved in with him, and we kind of rekindled and reestablished our relationship, and we're in a great place now. But that's just to give you a little bit of background of my childhood, okay? So during that time, there were a few years where I endured from a family member. We're just going to call him a family member. I'm not going to give him a name, an identity, no signs or anything of who this person is. I'm actually going to leave some details out because if I did, it'd be like way too obvious about who this person was. So a family member during that time did some things to me that were very traumatic. There were some times where I was touched inappropriately without consent. There was times where I was abused physically and mentally. Not so much physically. The physical part I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that happened. The mental abuse was really the worst, and something that still does stick with me to this day that I have to work through. I didn't expect to get this emotional. Oh God, we're only like 10 minutes in. This person was just a really, really awful person in my life, and they were also addicted to drugs at the time. So I forgave them in the past for what they did to me because I blamed what they did to me and their anger on drug addiction, because as we know, drugs put you in a brain altering state. They can cause you to do things that you don't even remember. So for a good part of my life, I just thought, okay, this person's addicted to drugs, like this is why they're doing this to me, and things like that. This person would always call me fat. I was only maybe like the highest I ever was as from birth to like the most I ever weighed during my childhood was like 130, 135. I've always had a booty, I've always had thighs, but I was like skinny. Like when I look back at pictures, I'm like, why did I think I was fat? I was so skinny. This person would always call me fat, always say I had thunder thighs, always said that, you know, boys are never gonna like me because I'm big and because I'm ugly and I'm not pretty enough. Growing up, I really liked to sing, and so sometimes like I would sing, and they would, if they were ever over my house and they would hear me, they'd be like, why are you singing? You sound horrible. Like, don't you want friends? Like, why are you, like, don't sing. Like, why would you sing? People are gonna make fun of you. Like, don't do that. And so because of that, I have found that I am very self-conscious about my voice. Like, people will hear me all the time, they'll be like, oh my God, why aren't you making music? And it's like, I have this insecurity attached to my singing because this person always told me that I wasn't good enough and that I sounded horrible. And so now every time I hear my voice, no matter, you can put me in like a $6,000 studio and I'll still think I sound horrible. It's like a trauma bond. So they would say that I was stupid because this person, when they were in school, they had really good grades. Like, they could literally like sit in class and they could hear the teacher talking, and they could retain the information and take a test and like ace it. And for me, I have a disability in math and language, so it took me a really long time to retain information. I always had extra time on tests. I had support teachers because I just had a hard time retaining information, and that's normal. That's something, even if you don't have a disability, that you may struggle with. But I always felt stupid, always felt not good enough, I always felt fat, I always felt insecure. I wouldn't want to wear like shorts or anything like that because I thought that my legs were big. And then eventually when I moved to New Jersey and I was in 8th grade, I got severely bullied because I was one of the more like thicker girls in the class. And I remember there was a week where we had cheerleading tryouts, and I wanted to try out really bad and I wanted to make it. Mom was always working when I was growing up, so if I ever wanted to go anywhere I had to walk, which I was totally fine with. I liked walking, but from the middle school to the high school was a good like 20-minute walk. So when I tell you that I had no time to change, I literally had to leave my middle school and go to the high school because they made it very adamant that if you're late that you are not trying out. So I had to wear my outfit to school because there was not going to be any time for me to change. And I was so bullied that week. Like I literally, and it was not even by girls, it was by boys, calling me fat, saying that my legs were big, why am I trying out, I'm not gonna make it, which I did end up making it, so hello. But you know, during that time, these people that were bullying me didn't realize that they were triggering such horrible memories from me when I was growing up as a little girl. They didn't know that. So you never know anything that somebody is going through. So the next time that you want to make a comment about somebody's appearance, no matter how old you are, especially if you're an adult, 'cause that's embarrassing for you, just be careful. Just know that you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what's triggering them, and you truly don't know what somebody has gone through in their past or is going through in their present. So just think about that next time. I feel like because I grew up around this family member and they would always talk about my body, that I obtained such a severe version of body dysmorphia. I always thought I was fat no matter what. When I tell you I would literally wear jeans in like 80-degree weather, I'm not joking. I would wear jeans, I'd wear like a short sleeve, but it always had to kind of like cover my arms up here because I always thought that I was fat, and I always thought that I was like, people were going to make fun of me or people were going to comment on my appearance. And so I developed such a horrible version of myself. I look in the mirror, I wouldn't think that I was pretty. I would think that my body was all over the place. I wouldn't think that I was good enough in any sense of their way. And I think that this was this family member's goal, was to destroy me and knock me down in every way, shape, or form, because they wanted me to feel insecure. I think that they fed off of me being hurt and insecure, which is sick. But I believe that was their goal, and they definitely achieved it when I was younger, for sure. So I talked about a little bit about how, like, you know, they would touch me without consent and things like that. And I'm not going to get into details with that because some things are better kept private, but you guys get the gist of what it was. I want to say it, but I don't, because I feel like my video is going to be demonetized, but I'm not going to like say the exact terms, but just know that this happened to me for a couple of years. This person eventually got so addicted to drugs that they went from doing that, and also when I got older, I kind of got smarter and realized like this is not okay, like this can't, like this shouldn't be happening. Of course, you know, my parents always taught me growing up, like, if somebody touches you inappropriately, that's not right. So, like, I knew it wasn't right, but at the same time, I felt this person beat me down so much that I felt like if I said anything, nobody was going to believe me. Now, let me just put this out there, that my mom, if I told her, she would have believed me. Without a shadow of a doubt, she would have believed me. It's not because she told me anything, or it's not because she did anything that made me feel like she wasn't going to believe me. I personally thought that nobody would believe me, but it wasn't because of her. And I want to drill that into your head. It wasn't because of my mother. It's because this person made me feel so small, like this little, that if I said anything that nobody would believe it. So I didn't say anything. I took it. And I remember there was like some nights where like I did want to tell my mom. I actually got to a point where I literally wrote a letter to her, like a 3-page letter to her, just explaining things that were going on and things that were happening, and then I ended up just ripping it up and never giving it to her. And I remember there was just some nights where I would like go to sleep and I would just be like praying to God, and I would just be like why is this like I don't understand, like why is this happening to me, like what's the reason behind it? I know there's a reason for everything, but like what is, like what, you know, like what's the reason? Oh fuck, I didn't want to get emotional during this. I'm not crying because like it still hurts me. I'm crying because like, oh, I went through so much as a kid. Like I wish that I could just visit my old self and hug her and tell her like how great she was going to be and like how much she was gonna, like, oh God, the life that she was gonna create for herself. Because when I tell you that I thought nothing of myself, I thought nothing of myself at all. Oh God, okay. So there was nights where I would just like pray, and I would just be like, and at this point my Nana had passed away, and I would just pray to her, and I would just be like, you know, Nana, like please protect me, like I don't want to go through this anymore, like I don't know what to do, like what do I do, you know? So a couple of people witnessed this person being aggressive towards me, and as I got a little bit older, this person started to be aggressive towards me. And like I said, you know, I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, like this isn't right, like they shouldn't be touching me. So that stopped, and then it turned into physical altercations. So there was a couple times in particular. There was one day where they were over my house, and my mom wasn't home because my mom was in college. My parents divorced. My mom was a single mother, so she was working full-time, and she was going to school, trying to better her life to therefore better my life. And I was so proud of her. I was like, to this day I'm so proud of her because she's still in school, and I just am so happy for her going after her dreams. So there was a couple times where I was alone at home with this person, and there was one time in particular where I had broken like a flag. Like, there was like an American flag, and you know how like there's a flag and then there's a little like wooden pole, and you guys know you get those things from like the dollar store, so they're so flimsy, they break really easily. So we were kind of like messing around with the flag, and I accidentally broke it in half, and I was just like, oh my God, like I broke it in half, and like I was upset because I just broke my flag, you know. And I kind of started like laughing, and then I look over, and this family member is just staring at me, and it's almost as if I looked at them and they had like, the best way I can describe it is it looked almost as if the devil had come down from the sky and just went into their body, and now it was like the vessel of them was no longer them, it was that of like the devil. And I almost looked at their eyes, and I almost thought for a minute that maybe like I saw red in them. Like I can't explain it. It was just really weird, and their whole look changed, and their pupils got really big, and they charged at me. So like I had the flag in my hands, and they charged at me, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand why they were charging at me because it was my flag, it wasn't theirs. So I'm like, why I don't understand why they're upset with me, you know. They charged at me, and they chased me all throughout the house, and they went to go grab my arm, and they had like a really good grip of it, and I was trying to pull away, but like I was little, this was probably when I was this had to have been when I was in 6th grade, and they my wrists were really tiny when I was younger, so they grabbed like my wrist like right here, and they had a good hold on it, so I couldn't get my arms out, and they just started like digging their nails into me, and I went like this, and when I went like this, their nails had scratched me so hard that I had like a hold mark on my arm. And I just remember running into my room and locking it, and they were coming up to my door, and they were just banging on the door, banging and telling me to open it, and I just went under my bed, and I just started crying. I just started bawling my eyes out. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know why they were so upset with me. I didn't understand what I did, but I don't know what would have happened if they would have gotten a hold of me. I don't know if they would have beaten me. I don't know what would have happened, but I locked the door, and they stopped eventually, and then they walked away. And I didn't know what to do. I just sat there. Sorry, my camera died, but I needed some time to collect myself, so it's fine. So continuing forward, After that altercation had happened, my grandmother had called, and I always like give this to the grace of God that, you know, somebody called, because I don't know what would have happened. So she ends up calling, and this person comes to the door, they knock on it, and they say, "Hi, Dakota, your grandma's on the phone," you know, trying to make it seem like everything was fine. And I said, okay. And so I opened the door and I went to go grab the phone and like say, "This is the phone." And you know how in the house phones back in the day, they had the little speaker down below. This person covered it like this, and they said, "If you tell her anything that just happened, I'm going to hurt you. Like, don't tell her anything." And so I just grabbed the phone. I remember going like this, because my grandmother would call me once a week just to see how things were, and just to talk to me. And so I remember like just being scared, and I took the phone, we had a conversation, and about a minute into the conversation I heard, because we had 2 house phones, and I heard the second house phone being picked up. So I think this person was afraid that I was going to tell her something or rat them out. And so they picked up the second house phone just to listen in on the conversation and just make sure that, you know, I wasn't saying anything or exposing them or anything like that. So I just remember that was one of the physical altercations that we went through, and I was just really scared and I didn't know what to do. And my mom had, you know, gotten back home from school that night, and I acted like nothing happened. And I think that's why my mother never got an inclination as to anything that was happening, because I acted like nothing happened. And I was very good at that. I don't know if it's like a Pisces thing, I don't know what it is, but as a kid, I would escape. Like, I would literally withdraw from my environment. So if something was happening and I knew that it was just like crazy, or it was mind altering, or it was hurtful, I could just escape. And I could go into this like alternate reality where like everything was okay and nobody could harm me and nobody could hurt me. And I would picture this new, that's why I think I'm so good at manifestation, because I can literally picture myself somewhere else. I can daydream myself into another place that's different from where I'm at the moment. So I think that's why I'm able to manifest things so easily, because I literally can put myself in another energetic state. I don't know how to explain it, it's so weird, but I was a very good actor as a child. I acted like everything was okay, because in my mind I knew that one day things were going to be okay. So every day I would just be like, all right, just get through this day, we'll go through the next, get through this day, we'll go through the next, it's gonna be okay. Like, I literally was like my biggest best friend and motivator during those times. So I don't even, like, I understand why my mom had no inclination, because I acted like everything was fine, you know? So of course she had no idea. So a couple of my friends had like witnessed a few things that have happened. Like, one of my friends, Melissa, we were at my house one night and this person was over, and I don't exactly remember what happened, but I remember they were kind of like aggressive towards me, and my friend had saw it, and they didn't like hit me or like push me or anything, but they just like verbally were aggressive. And I think it had got to a point where I was just like, I need to talk to somebody about what's going on. Like, I never would say anything to the point where anybody would knew that I was in harm's way, but I was like, I have to like at least let somebody know, like the tiniest bit of information, that way I can feel okay inside. Because what happens as a kid is when you take on all this trauma, it just builds and builds and builds and marinates within you, and one day you just wake up and you want to explode. So like, it breaks my heart when there's these kids in the school systems and these teachers are judging these kids for like behavioral issues, are being angry or being like, you know, aggressive. And it's like, they probably have something going on at home and they can't talk to anybody about it. So it's being built up inside of them, and them lashing out is letting go of that energy. Like, school is their only safe place. So that's why I wanted to become a teacher for so long, so I could like look out for warning signs and like help kids and things like that. But that just wasn't the path I ended up going down. But I do eventually want to one day like build some type of charity or organization where I can help children that are being abused or harmed or something like that, because I just want to give back and like help these kids out, you know? They asked like, does that happen a lot? And I said, yeah, like sometimes. And they were like, do you want me to, no, they were like, you should tell your mom. And I said, no. I said, I'm not. I said, I just don't want. I said, no, I don't want to. And like I said, I knew she would believe me, but this person had just made me think that like no matter what, that like nobody would believe me. And also I was scared that God forbid I say something and no one believes me, and then this person knows I exposed them, my life was going to be a living hell. So I was too afraid of the backlash that would have come from that. And it wasn't true. Like, my mom definitely would have believed me looking back, but I didn't think that. So I was just too scared. And she was like, well, how about I say something? I can be like, oh, so-and-so is being aggressive with Dakota lately. And I was just like, no, it's okay, like, don't worry about that. But like, she was just, oh, she was such a freaking angel. And to this day, like, I love her so much, like, because she really wanted to help me. She just didn't know how to. That's the point where even one day, one of my cousins was over, and we had gone to the house, and this family member was there, and my mom wasn't home. I think she was out with like my other cousin or something, and me and my cousin were just like, you know, walking around the house laughing, whatever, and this family member was there, and apparently we were being too loud. So they were like, you just go in your room, like, you're being loud, you're being annoying. And like, we were loud and annoying, so like, I'll give them that, but they were like, just go in your room. So I was like, okay. So we went into my room, whatever, and then I guess my cousin was like, like, he's not about to talk to us like that. And I was just looking at her, and I was like, stop. I was like, please stop, please stop, please stop. And she was like, no, like, fuck that. Like, why is he talking to you like that? So she went and like started not telling him off, but she started like telling him about himself. She was like, you're just miserable, like, you're bitter, like, apparently you're PMSing this week. And I don't know what about that statement made him flip, but it triggered something, and out of nowhere I just hear him come and like bang on my door, and my cousin goes to open the door, and he has a full cup of water like this, right? Like, so like this, but it was full to the top of water. And she opens the door, and he just goes like this, and the whole thing of water just drenches her. And she was like, like, the whole thing of water just drenches her, and she just was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, like, screaming. And I was just like, I was frozen. Like, I think I was just kind of paralyzed from fear, because I was just happy that that's all he did. I thought there was gonna be more, so that to me was like nothing. So I just was like, I just like sat there, and I didn't know what to do. And then like, I think reality just snapped, and I'm like, oh my god, like, he just, and it was ice water too, like, there was little ice chips in it too. So number one, it was freezing, and number two, the ice cubes smacked her in the face. So I go to get her towels, and I'm like drying her off, whatever, and she goes, we're going outside, and my mom's picking us up right now. And so her mom came and picked us up, and she saw, you know, she picks us up, and she sees that my cousin is like drenched, like her face was drenched, her hair, her shirt. She had on this, like, I'll never forget it. It was this this red shirt, but it was like a faded shirt, a faded red shirt, because that's like what was in back in the days. Like, these companies would sell these shirts that were like faded, like they purposely would fade them, and it had a little like Superwoman symbol on there, and it was just like faded. And she was wearing these like these boot cut, like, ripped jeans, and the water, there was so much water in the cup that it got on her hair, her face, her shirt, and her pants. Like, from here down to like her midsection, she was below her midsection, she was soaked. So she was like, when she called, you know, her mom, she didn't tell her what happened. She just was like, you have to come now. And so they come, and we waited outside for her to come, and she's like, what the hell happened? And so my cousin starts explaining what happened. And I don't know, I guess when we were telling the story, people thought that it was just like a joke. Like, they were just like, oh, like, he just threw a cup of water, like, you guys were messing around. But like, we weren't messing around. Nobody was playing, nobody was doing anything. Like, it wasn't like, you know, when you're with like your cousins growing up, or like a family member growing up, and you all just get like a big ass water fight. It wasn't like that. Like, we literally were going into my room, and I guess she said something that triggered him, and when she opened the door, he just chucked a cup of water at her. Like, and so I guess just no one took it seriously, because like, and I understand why they didn't, because it sounded like, oh, like, y'all are just being petty, like, y'all are just like throwing water at each other, like, whatever. So you know, that happened. And then I guess my cousin was getting pissed, because she was like, why is nobody taking this seriously? So then she, when my mom came to pick me up, was like telling her about everything that had happened, but she said it with a little bit more like oomph, like, this is what happened, like, blah blah blah, at your house. And so then my mom was just like, what the hell? Like, and she was pissed. She's like, why would this person do that? Like, I don't understand. And not to mention that when they threw the water, it got all over the floor, and we didn't clean it up, because we just wanted to book it out of there so we can get somewhere safe. And so it was all over my rug. We had these like old ass rugs where, like, if you spilt anything, immediately a stain came up. It doesn't matter if it was water, juice, soda, like a stain came up, and once it dried and you couldn't get it out. So there was evidence that this happened, like, you know, it was there. And she was pissed, and like, you know, she went to go talk to this person, but this person was such a good, like, this person, I will say, because they are narcissistic, but I also think that, I'm not going to speculate, but I know they're a sociopath. I know they're narcissistic, and I think they may be a little bit, I'm not going to speculate. It's not my job to do that, but there's something wrong with them. But because they have that little bit of that narcissistic trait in them, they know how to smooth people. Like, this person could literally stand in front of you and have a knife and make you think that it's a fork. Like, they literally could have a knife in front of you and convince you within 5 minutes that they're holding a fork. Like, that's how dangerously smoothing and convincing this person is. So they convinced my mom that it was just a joke. He was just like, oh, we were all just like laughing and joking around and like popping jokes at one another. I thought it'd be funny if I just like threw a little water at her. Like, he made it seem like it was nothing. And I didn't have a voice then. I didn't know how to stand up for myself because, like I said, I was afraid of the repercussions of standing up for myself. So I didn't say anything, and then eventually, you know, my cousin never came over after that again. She just was like, no, like, I'm not, like, not putting myself in that again. And then we, like, nobody really talked about it afterwards. But those are a couple situations where a couple people like witnessed things and was like, yeah, like, something's not right here. But like I said, I was so good at condensing it and suppressing it that I never revealed or made it seem as if something was wrong. I acted perfectly on the outside, and you could see that I was okay. You would think that I was okay. So I guess nobody speculated further because I never gave a reason for them to. It got to a point where I never wanted to be home. As if that person was going to be at my house, I never wanted to be home. So it got to a point where I started picking up extracurricular activities after school. I started doing anything in my power that I could, like, to not be home. And on the days where, like, I didn't have like cheerleading or dance or something like that, I would always be at a friend's house religiously until my mom was home. Just because as long as there was another body like there, I knew that it was going to be okay. So I remember I went to my friend Emily's, like, basically Monday through Friday every single day. And Emily, if you're watching this, I don't know if you are, but I sincerely want to say, like, from the bottom of my heart, from the tip of my scalp to the bottom of my toes, like, thank you so much to you and your family for always letting me come over and never questioning why or never speculating why. Like, they always just welcomed me in with open arms, and I'll always appreciate you guys for that, because you didn't know this at the time, but you were a very safe place for me to go to and to rely on. So I really just want to say a sincere thank you to you guys. You guys don't know any way, shape, or form how much you helped me during this period of time. And then eventually, you know, we ended up moving to New Jersey, and I kind of lost contact with them, but I just wanted to say, like, a sincere thank you so much to you and your family. You don't know how much you guys really helped me out during that time, so thank you. I can't stop crying. I don't know what is wrong with me. Oh my god, stop. Whew, okay, let's get back. Okay, so eventually I ended up moving to New Jersey, and when I moved to New Jersey, looking back now, I want to just really put out there that's the best thing that could have ever happened to me. It was hard because I moved to New Jersey at the end of 7th grade. So I, you know, left 7th grade, and then I think maybe a couple weeks later we packed up and moved to New Jersey. I left behind my friends, my family, like everything I'd ever known, to move to New Jersey with my mom. And then she got remarried. That's why we were moving, because her new husband lived in New Jersey. So we were going to be with them. And it was not him either, so please do not in any way, shape, or form insinuate that it was not my ex-stepdad. It was not. So we left everything in Connecticut and moved there, and I kind of felt like, okay, this is like a fresh start for me. Like, I'm not gonna have to deal with their abuse anymore. Like, anywhere was better than where I was at currently. So I was like, now I'm looking back on it and realizing that that's probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I got away from this person. So life went on, moved to New Jersey. I finished, you know, 8th to 12th grade there, and then my mom and my ex-stepdad ended up getting a divorce. So when we moved back to Connecticut, and like I said, all those things that had happened during my childhood, I later found out that this person was on drugs, like a lot of those times they were heavily involved with lots of things. So I chalked it up to this person was on drugs, and that's probably the reason why they were projecting and doing all of these things to me. So I forgave them, and I put it in the past because I don't know what it's like to be addicted to drugs. I don't know what it's like to be on drugs, but I did grow up a little bit around addiction. I did see what it could do to the best person. It could make them into, you know, someone they don't want to be. So I chalked it up to that, and I forgave them, and I moved on. So, you know, life moves on, time goes on. I end up getting pregnant. I have my daughter and things like that. And before anybody says anything, my daughter's never been around this person. My daughter's never been alone with this person or anything like that. So she's completely safe, always has been. The only people who ever watch my daughter are my mother and my father. That's it. She will never be on sleepovers. She will never be alone around a male figure. I am very protective, very like mama bear over her. Like, no one's gonna touch her, no one's gonna fuck with her. Like, that's like, if you ever touch my child, like, you have another thing coming for you. Like, don't even look at, even if we're out somewhere at a store, like, and I just see, like, and we're because, you know, men are sick, we're walking by like a male and I feel like they're looking at us for too long, I give them a death stare. I bring pepper spray with me everywhere I go. Like, I'm very protective over her, so y'all don't have to worry about that at all. I have gained a lot of knowledge from this experience. That's the one thing that I'm grateful for, is that I realized from this that, like, you can't trust everybody. Like, you really can't. Eventually this person ended up actually moving, like, really far away too, so that also made it better, because, like, there would really be no purpose for us to have any communication. Like, I was an adult now, so you know, there wouldn't really be a reason for me to have to, like, interact with them or anything like that, because they were moving so far away. I knew they weren't really, like, gonna visit much, so I was just like, who cares, like, whatever. So that was that. And then in 2017, like I said, I'd forgiven this person because I was like, okay, they were on drugs, like, you know, shit happened, whatever. And I moved on with my life, and I had deeply suppressed this trauma so deep within me because I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to think about what happened to me. I didn't want to think about why. I just chalked it up to, like, okay, this person was on drugs and that's why they did what they did. But even if they weren't on drugs, or the fact that they were, it still happened to me, and it's something that I needed to deal with. So I didn't realize it at the time. I do now. Neither here or there. In 2017, I started to receive some really weird concerning text messages from this person. I had an Instagram, and at the time, because my body for so long, I had been so ashamed of it and so, like, just put off by my body and thinking that I was fat and thinking that I wasn't beautiful or pretty, I started kind of, like, coming into, like, my feminine energy, and I started really liking my body, really appreciating it, and I started to kind of preach body positivity on social media to possibly help somebody else that maybe was going through the same body dysmorphia as me, or just didn't feel confident within themselves. So I started posting really cute pictures with, like, Calvin Klein shorts on, and you couldn't really see much, but, like, you could see a little bit of booty, like, nothing too serious. It was like boy shorts, you know, and I would take cute pics, and, like, just, you know, I was like, I just felt sexy, and I felt cute, and I felt beautiful, and I was really starting to, like, come into, like, that feminine energy after so long of suppressing it, feeling like I'm not good enough. And I got a text message from this family member after not hearing from them for quite a bit of time, and they said something to the lines of, like, your pictures have looked so good on social media. And this person doesn't have an Instagram, so I got really confused as to how they were seeing my stories. And I would look at my stories and I would see who was viewing them, and it never said an Instagram that had their name in it or anything even related to that. So I knew that they were using somebody else's profile to look at my page, which was even more concerning because I have pictures of my daughter on there, and also because why are you using someone else's page to look at my page, period? If you don't have an Instagram, like, why are you using someone else's to look at my stuff? Like, that's weird. I ignored that message. Then a couple hours later, I get a link sent to me, and it's like, you should order a few outfits from here and I'll pay for them, then you can wear them for, like, your social media. So I had received this really weird text message, and then I go to click on the link, and the link is a website for lingerie wear. And I was extremely confused by this. I didn't understand. I don't know why in my mind, like, I try to rationalize people's behavior so much. It's something that I've definitely stopped doing, but I was like, did they send me the wrong link? Did they Like, I don't get it. So I chose to do what I thought was best in that situation, and I just ignored them completely. And there have been times over the years where they had sent me weird messages, like just saying weird stuff, and then they'd be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I meant to send this to so-and-so. Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to send that to you. But I always knew that the only reason they said that secretly was because I didn't respond, but I didn't want to admit it at that time. So I ignored it. And then more weird text messages would come in, like just kind of insinuating the same thing, or just checking in on me and being like, how are you, but then saying something weird to follow up with it. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get into like extreme details. Some things are just better left to be private, but you guys get the gist of it. Inappropriate things that you just don't say to somebody that you are that's blood, you know, like it's you don't say it to like a family member. And the more and more I ignored them, it's like the more the texts would just pour in. It's like, I don't know if they didn't handle being ignored well, or I don't know if they just thought that like I didn't get the picture, but they just kept going. And in my mind, like when you start something, eventually it dies. So I thought I was doing the right thing by ignoring this person. Oh my god, I just love hearing Aubrey's laugh. It just makes me feel like, oh, like I did something right, you know? And then things started to take more of a turn for the weirder side. Like, they would send me a message and say like, can I please just have one conversation with you? Can you please just answer me? I'll send you $500. And then 500 turned into 1,000, and 1,000 turned into 2,000. And it was like, just name your price, just one conversation, I'll literally send you money. And that's when I was just looking at it and I was like, what is wrong with this person? Like, I don't understand. Like, now they're offering me money. It's like, it was sick. It was so sick. I think what happened is this person realized for the first time that I was like officially cutting them off, because I decided with the whole sending me the link to the lingerie, I was like, I'm cutting this person off, like I'm done. And I ended it at that. When I cut somebody off, I cut them off, like that's it, there's no go backs. And I should have cut them off a long time ago, but I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, which is also something that I've stopped doing in my later 20s, because I realized that I give it to people who don't really deserve it. And this person didn't at all. They hurt me, you know? But then there was one last text that I got when I realized that it wasn't the drug addiction, it wasn't the troubled childhood, it wasn't any of that. This person actually has a mental disorder in which they need to seek physical and medical help for. And I got a text from this individual that confessed their love for me and confessed that they were in love with me and have been for quite some time. And this is a family member. This is not someone I met off the street. This is not a high school, middle school crush. This is not someone that I just met at a bar and took my number. This is a family member. And I realized right then and there that I could never let this person have even 1% access to me ever again. I felt almost as if my whole life I had this like bubble around me. Like I put myself in this like alternate universe, and I had this bubble around me where I just suppressed everything. And I feel like the biggest like pin needle just popped it, and all of a sudden I was out of my daydream and I started unpacking and analyzing. Like, it's almost as if like there was a luggage that was full of clothes and jewelry and items that I had from like a vacation from like 15 years ago, and I finally just started unpacking. Like, oh shit, that's what happened. Like, oh shit, this is when I wore that shirt, or this is when I did this. Like, I started unpacking the trauma and being like, this was not right. This was terrible. This person did this to me. Why did they do this to me? I was a child. This is not right. Like, I started just unpacking everything and analyzing it. I'm like, I cannot believe I blamed, not myself, but I blamed this person's behavior on their addiction and not seeing them at surface level for who they actually are. And I knew right then and there that it was not a drug addiction. It was nothing like that. This person just had a problem. And I realized I needed to just cut them off completely wipe my hands clean of them. And I told myself, I said, I will never speak to this individual again. I'm done. So I proceeded with blocking this person off of every single possible platform. Like I said, they didn't have an Instagram, but they did have a Facebook. I completely blocked them off there. I blocked their number. I blocked anybody that was even remotely connected to them in any way, shape, or form, because I have a daughter now, and I'll be damned if I let anything of even 2% of what happened to me happen to her. I will be damned. Absolutely not. No hesitation, no explanation. I just cut him off, and anybody that was in his circle, anybody that was around him, anything or anybody that was tethered to this person, I cut them off with no explanation. This happened in 2017, and then like February of 2018, my mom had moved back to Connecticut, and I eventually ended up telling her, and we cried and we talked about it. And the worst person in this situation that I feel the worst for is not even myself, it's for my mom, because she in some type of way feels like she didn't protect me and she failed me, and that's not the case at all. I keep telling her, even to this day, this is not your fault. You didn't know. There's no way you could have known. I didn't say anything. I made sure to make her know that, like, it's not that I didn't tell you because I thought you wouldn't believe me because of something that you did. I thought nobody would believe me because this person had just conditioned me to think this way. So in this situation, I feel worse for her because she feels, and I get it, because as a parent, now that I'm a mother, like, you look at your child, and when you get knowledge that anything happens to them, you feel horrible. But fact of the matter is that sometimes it's really not your fault, and things are just out of your hands sometimes and out of your control, and it's not their fault. It's the person's fault that's hurting them. So I feel so sorry for her, because she still feels to this day like she's not responsible, but like she could have done something, and I'm just like, you could, like, how would you have known, you know? So I feel the worst for her out of anybody, even more so than myself. The last contact that I ever had with this person, November of 2020. I got a letter. I call it a letter. It's not a letter, it's a text, but the text is so long that I consider it a letter. I got one of the most gaslighting, condescending, oxymoron of a statement letters that I've ever gotten in my life from this person, who basically like apologized but made it seem like they never did anything that they actually did, and that if I feel some type of way, then they're sorry. That's not an apology, that's not recognition or accountability, and it's very cowardly if you ask me. It's very low of a human being for you to do something like that. It's very inhumane. I blocked the number in which they used to reach out to me, but I do have the letter saved, so maybe I will in the next story time read it to you guys. But I feel like for today's video, I've gotten into a lot of heavy subjects, I've cried a lot, and I'm kind of mentally exhausted, so I think I'm gonna hold off until the next video. And to be completely honest, I actually just opened it up and read it, and I just feel very angry reading it, because, you know, I don't expect an apology. I don't expect an explanation, because what you've done is done, and no matter what you say, you can't go back in the past and change what's been done. What's been done is done. But to even attempt to apologize and be so condescending and gaslighting and narcissistic and sociopathic is what really gets me. And I'd like to actually read that letter in a better mental state and to unpack it with you guys, just to point out all of the lies, all of the manipulations and everything like that. So I am going to close out today's video, but before I close out, I do want to give a few closing statements. First things first is thank you to my subscribers. You guys are my reason. You guys are my why. You guys are my reason. And I want to thank the subscribers who reached out to me with their stories, because you guys gave me strength to share mine. And you guys are like family to me, literally. I don't just look at you as a number. I don't just look at you as like a person. Like, I literally look at you guys as my family. Like, you guys know, if you ever inbox me, I always answer all my DMs. I always try to help you guys in any way that I can. I'm really appreciative, and I love you guys so much. So seriously, to my subscribers, to all of you, just like, thank you. Because of you guys, I'm able to sit on here on this platform and share these stories and help other people realize that they're not alone within their battles, and that you could truly turn your trial into your testimony. and your pain into your passion. And you know, it's funny because I get so much love on all my story times, but there definitely are a few comments that I read, because I read all my comments, you guys, every single one. And I do read a few comments here and there, and I'll get like the ever so often like, oh, you're so dramatic, or like, you should put your time and energy into something better instead of reflecting on all this drama, or like, your life has been so crazy, you must love drama. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know shit about what I've been through. You wouldn't last 2 seconds in my shoes with the things that I've been through. I've been through a lot as a child, as an adult. I've been through a lot, okay? You don't know me. So don't sit there and make accusations. And I don't like to give, I believe like where your attention goes, your energy flows. But I do just want to like give a little bit of a statement, because I feel like this is constructive. You don't ever know what somebody's going through, okay? When I was in middle school and I was getting bullied because I was fat, because I was big, people didn't realize that they were triggering sexual abuse for me from my abuser, who not only sexually abused me but mentally said that I was fat and gave me body dysmorphia, okay? They didn't know that. They didn't know I was going through hell at home. They didn't know that I had all this trauma that I was unpacking. I was in a new state with a new family. I had friends, and then I didn't have friends because they turned against me. I was bullied, and then I wasn't bullied. Like, I was going through a lot. And you never know what somebody is going through, and it's never okay just because you're in a bad, because I know I have a lot of young girls who follow me on here. My age demographic is 17 to 35, and then sometimes above that too. But like, I have a lot of young women following me on here, and I know I have a lot of girls who are in high school following me on here, because I get DMs and I talk to them. And you know, if I could just give y'all the best advice, like, don't listen to people. Don't listen to people who try to bully you, who try to talk down to you, to try to talk fear into your plans, who try to tell you that you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not enough in general, because those people are merely projecting. People that are happy, people who aren't miserable, they don't do that. They lead you, they push you to be better, they cheer you on. They're in your circle, they're in your corner. People who are doing mean things to you, or bullying you, or talking down on you, or in any type of way abusing you, it's because they feel so little that they have to feel some type of stature themselves. So that's why they project their anger onto you. It's not you, it's them. So don't listen to people, because it's never about you and it's always about them. My channel and my story times are to raise awareness, okay? Every 1 in 3 girls gets sexually abused by the time they're 18. Did you know that? Every 1 in 3. Every 1 in 5 boys get sexually abused by the time that they're 18. 1 in 5. So somebody around you that you know, when you're in a group, one of them probably has this happen to them, okay? It's nothing to joke about. It's serious, and it happens. And guess what? With the girl statistic, girls who have been sexually abused between ages 1 and 6, 50% were from family members, okay? 50%, and that's a real statistic, and I'll link the information down below of where I've seen that. But this is to raise awareness, okay? So we can educate people on how this happens, so we can educate the warning signs to look out for, and most importantly, so we can prevent this happening to any other child, because no child deserves to recover from sexual abuse, okay? When you were a kid, you're supposed to be a kid. You're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to be with friends and focusing on your, like, just living life. You're not supposed to have to go through this stuff. So if I could in any type of way raise awareness for this and help out another child, that's all I'm trying to do. So just, that's a reminder for the people who want to comment and say that I'm all about drama, or like I love drama, or like I come on here and I do story times because I'm messy. No, I'm trying to help people, okay? It's the opposite of what you're doing. It's the opposite of what you're doing. And so I'm taking what you're doing, which is trying to hurt me, which, honey, try better, okay? It's not gonna work. You have to say a lot worse than my nose is crooked, or my eyelashes are crazy, or that I'm dramatic to hurt me, because, like, no, I'm confident in who I am, and that's on period. I'm taking what you're doing, which is trying to hurt me and bring me down, which is all in actuality just a projection of what you're feeling inside, and I'm turning it into something constructive and helpful. So I think I'm winning at the end of the day, but thank you, because your hate comments are what keep me motivated to keep going, because what I'm doing is getting under your skin for a reason, because I'm doing something good for the world, and you're sitting at home behind a computer screen with no profile picture on a fake social media account trying to bring me down. So, like, who's winning here? I don't think it's you. I'm going to link down below resources for you guys that if you know anybody going through this, or if you have gone through this and just want someone to talk to, resources and numbers and places that you can go to get some help for that. And just as a reminder, if you have been through anything like this, whether it be abuse, whether it be mental, physical, sexual, anything like that, I see you, I feel you, I am you. You are beautiful, you are capable, you are wonderful, and you are worthy. Okay, just because somebody did something to you, like abuse you or do something to you without consent, doesn't make you any less of a human being. It does not make you any less of a person that is deserving of a great and magnificent life, because you are light, okay? And you are a leader, you are not a follower, you are a leader, okay? And you were given this life to show people that they can overcome it. Because I remember there was days where I was just like, why is this my life? Like, with everything I've been through, there was just days where I'm just like, I don't understand. And I'm realizing and I'm understanding as I get older that I was given this mountain so I can teach others that they can climb it. And I was reading, I don't know if you guys follow Alexis Jada on here. She's like my favorite storytime YouTuber. We've actually been through a lot of the same things, and that's why I love following her, for her transparency. And she just is a beautiful, magnificent woman. But somebody tagged her in this quote, and I read it and it rang true to me too. And it says, you're gonna one day tell the stories about everything you went through, and it's going to become somebody's survival guide. And I truly, truly believe that that is what I'm here doing on YouTube. And I'm so grateful and honored, honestly, that I could be that for you guys. Like, you have no idea. It is the biggest honor when I get a DM asking me for advice. Like, that is just like, it's mind-blowing. So it feels weird to promote my channel on this type of video, but if you do enjoy any of my content, like this video, please consider subscribing. It's free. Also, don't forget to turn your post notification on by clicking that bell icon. And thank you guys for just hearing me out, hearing my story, for giving me this platform. I will always be grateful. I will never take it for granted. I'll never take any of you for granted. I love you all. I can't solidify how much I love you guys. Like, I love you, each and every individual one of you. Like, you guys are literally my family, and I love you guys so much. So thank you so much for just giving me a reason, giving me a purpose. Y'all you really in every type of way saved me, so thank you so much. And just remember to stay strong, stay in your power, and tell your stories. You own everything that's happened to you. If people don't like the way that you have written about them or talked about them, they should have treated you better. And in no type of way am I making this video to send hate to this person, to make them look bad or send them any type of negativity. I'm simply just telling my story, and if they are painted in a bad light, it's based off of actions in which they have committed themselves, which I have no control over. I only have control over me and my actions and what I do with those. The actions and portraying of other people, that has nothing to do with me. But I'm not scared anymore. I'm not scared. I'm not going to sit here like a little puppet like I did my whole life as a kid. I have a voice now. I'm an adult. I'm a mother now, and I'm a strong person, and I'm not scared anymore. Be kind to other people, you guys. You never know. You could be standing next to somebody who is just trying to keep it together for one more day. Every person you come in contact with, you should leave them better than you found them, okay? That's my biggest motto in life, is leave people better than you found them, okay? Help people out, reach out to them, let them know that you are a source for them to come to if they need anything. And just be kind. You never know what people are... I'm filming. You never know what people are going through. I love you guys so much. Thank you for hearing me out. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.